klausyt. Turiu 3 minutės. Enemy of the People. Richardo Lewiso. Žurnalistinis, ne žurnalistinis, nežinau, bet jo video Enemy of the People, 5 serija. Visas 4 prieš tai žiūrėjau. Jo cinizmas ir pesimizmas žiūrint į politikus ir apskritai pasaulio ir visuomenę man labai yra artimas, todėl aš noriu jo pažiūrėti sekantį tada šitą video.
Hello everyone. Now, I know you were expecting another episode of Enemy of the People that addresses the major stories that the US media is currently misrepresenting to everyone, and I'm currently working on scripts for 3 episodes that will certainly hit the spot for fans of the series. However, to tide you over, we've recut a live stream talking about the media attacking that most iconoclastic of figures, Nicki Minaj. Her crime, stating that a cousin of hers got swollen testicles after receiving a COVID vaccination. As you'll see from the stream, it goes to some pretty wild places, with blue-check journos rabidly determined to try and ride on Minaj's coattails and get the attention they crave by pretending this is an international incident. Dangerous misinformation, they cry, failing to acknowledge that is exactly the commodity they traffic in every day. What happened after this stream was even crazier. A journalist from the Trinidad Guardian had messaged Minaj wanting an interview about the mundane claims and intimated that if she agreed, then her personal information would be kept private. This couldn't be guaranteed if CNN, who were also supposedly looking for members of her family on the island too, got the story. So naturally, she considered this a veiled threat and did the classic judo move on the journalist, putting out the messages and her contact phone number to her many millions of followers. The Daily Mail's James Fielding had also been chasing down this vitally important story and had left his business card with people, which Minaj also posted. Because there's nothing journalists love more than a pity party, this was framed as the intimidation of journalists by the dastardly singer rather than what it actually was, which was a refusal to be intimidated by journalists who were trying to drag her through the mud because she tweeted something they didn't like. Guardian media, enjoying the fact that for a moment the world now knows they exist, milked the situation as much as they could, releasing a statement decrying the use of aggression on social media, and they implied this was somehow an attack on the free press. They repeated this claim on air, as you can see here.
We at Guardian Media would like to issue an official statement. Today, in the legitimate pursuit of a story that has both local and international interest, one of our journalists was subjected to a range of attacks via social media, including death threats. This is unacceptable, and we have taken all measures within our control to ensure her safety and security. At Guardian Media Limited, we denounce intimidation of journalists in any form. Balanced reporting, which presents all perspectives, is fundamental to the democratic process, and we will continue to champion vigorously the freedom of the press. The use of aggression on social media to intimidate can have adverse physical and psychological effects on people. As a responsible media house, we encourage others to stand up against this type of behavior, as we can all make a difference in addressing this global challenge posed by the pervasive nature of social media.
And mainstream journalists jumped all over this and ran a bunch of articles about Minaj's despicable deeds, which should be appearing on your screen while I'm saying all this, because of course they did. Now, I won't get into how stupid it is to frame things you put on your business card that you give to total strangers in pursuit of your job as being personal information or as doxing, as I think most people understand that. What's truly remarkable about this case is it's another example of journalists lacking any self-awareness about how repulsive they are and how when their own behaviours are done to them, it becomes this international incident, a subject of much debate. You see, the only people who are allowed to do the doxing are the journalists. That's their weapon they use against you, you know? Like if you do something really heinous, like make a gif of Trump attacking the CNN logo or join a Facebook.
Nežinau, man iš viso, aš nesuprantu tos kultūros, nei tos Nicki Minaj, nei apskritai ten tų, šiknos didesnis už visą kūną kartu sudėjus, what the fuck, how do you live like that? Kam tai yra visų pirma gražu, blėt? Ir why would you ever fucking do it? Ir kaip, tipo, nu, vat, gyventi kiek apsunkina. What the fuck, na? I don't get it. Actually, what the fuck?
Book group or post a joke about Nancy Pelosi. That's just journalism, folks, and don't you dare criticize it. Anyway, enjoy this filler episode.
True.
I'll see you next time with something more substantial. Every day is horrible on Twitter because you never know when it's going to be you, right? You never know when you're going to be the viral sensation that the hate mob comes for. And fortunately, it hasn't been me for a while. But on September the 13th, we got to see an example of why losers with Twitter addiction say, "How is this website free?" It's fair to say the talk of September the 13th was balls all round. It was absolutely crazy. So it was a meme-tacular day on Twitter. And in honesty, compared to the usual blood sports of social media, a sort of welcome refrain from the nonsense and the hostilities. And obviously some people are going to take things too far, as we'll see. Usually the media themselves. But certainly I enjoyed the discourse. So I'm going to sort of summarize it all for you. And essentially, I guess the theme of this is how journalists and blue checks can just fuck up a good time. You know, there's nothing wrong with a bit of honest-to-goodness mockery, is there? Let's start with the tweet to end all tweets. My cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. His testicles became...
Čia beje buvo, nežinau, dabar jau prieš porą mėnesių, prieš kažkaip... Ai, September 13, taip, 3 mėnesiai, whatever. Jo, September 13 prieš 2 mėnesius, prieš 3 mėnesius jo buvo. Pro visą internetą praėjo šitos Nicki Minaj vakcinų teikai, kaip jinai ten paskui ir į televiziją ir panašiai.
Swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married and now the girl called off the wedding. So just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision and not bullied. There's a lot going on there in that tweet, right? There is a lot. Now, the first thing I'm just going to say is, assuming Nicki Minaj is telling the truth about this story that she heard about, and I've got no reason, I don't think Nicki Minaj is a liar. I don't think Nicki would lie to us. There's obviously something that really stands out, and that is that the vaccine, even if you have an adverse reaction to one of the vaccines, which is incredibly rare, none of those adverse reactions involve having your testicles swelling up. There hasn't been a single reported adverse incident where that's happened, despite millions and millions of vaccines having been administered. Now, you then get into the rabbit hole of why did this man get swollen bollocks? No. Right? One thing to know about your testicles, which I know, having had a serious testicular injury in the past, they're just a big sort of collection of veins, really. And you have some stalks that drop down into the ball. And, you know, it's like a pair of, you know, like two cherries on a stalk, essentially, with your left one having more stalk than the right. And basically, you can get a torsion or a twist or a urinary tract infection, which are also rarer in men. And this can, via the varicocele, the veins in your balls, you can go and get swolled up balls. You can go and get swolled up balls. That is a true fact. That is, I looked it up just before we started the stream. Another
the story.
cause of swollen testicles is an STD, a sexually transmitted disease, which...
Ir kas negirdėjot apie šitą istoriją, dabar jau yra šiek tiek plot thickens. Kas labiau tikėtina? Kad tas šivakas kažkokią STD pasigavo, ar, blėt, vakciną nuo COVID-o. Oh, man, kai žmonės bando atsivartyti. Oh, shit, čia gonna be good, blėt.
Of course, there are a few that would present as having swollen testicles. You know, I believe there's a type of syphilis that will do that. I think epididymitis or something is one. I think maybe very rare cases, because typically it doesn't present with symptoms in men, which is why it's easily spread, is chlamydia. Sometimes in very rare cases of chlamydia, your balls can done swolled up too. So, you know, things to know about if you're out there sexually active. Obviously, if you did have swollen testicles, and they're not usually swollen, you would not want your missus to see. But you also can't just hide them. So clearly what's happened here is Nicki Minaj's cousin for Trinidad has a friend who basically is a dirty dick and paid the price for being a dirty dick. His balls done swolled up, and they've had to call off the wedding, and he needs an excuse. You know? Well, I'll blame it on the vaccine, right? It's plausible. He's thinking, you know?
Oh,
what's
man.
Big Pharma doing to us, eh? And so he said, listen, darling, we're going to have to put the wedding back.
Amazing.
My nuts are huge now. Not because I have an STD from cheating, but because one of the side effects of the vaccine is it makes your balls massive. I'll just add, if that was a side effect, I do think there'd be certain states in America where we'd see a strong uptake of the vaccine. But let's not make it political. The journalists and the blue checks can do that, not me. Even though I am a journalist and a blue check. This statement, by the way, was quickly followed up by another tweet, which has been largely ignored in the narrative diarrhea that soon followed. Someone called Tasty Minaj.
Henry Ball should be good, right? I don't know, no one cares, really. Bent jau nesutikau gyvenime panos, kurie rūpėtų, tipo, ar kažką. Dick size, of course. Ball size? I don't think so. Nežinau. No one really cares a lot.
Not a relative, I'm going to assume. Said I had to get the vaccine because they wouldn't let me look for a job or get a job and to earn some money, and no, I'm unsure about getting the second vaccine. Sweaty emoji. I know, babe. A lot of countries won't let people work without the vaccine. I definitely recommend they get the vaccine. They have to feed their families. And I'm sure no said I had socially ignored in the narrative diarrhea that soon followed. Someone called Tasty Minaj. Not a relative, I'm going to assume. Said I had to get the vaccine because they wouldn't let me look for a job or get a job and to earn some money, and no, I'm unsure about getting the second vaccine. Sweaty emoji. I know, babe. A lot of countries won't let people work without the vaccine. I definitely recommend they get the vaccine. They have to feed their families. And I'm sure I'll be vaccinated as well because I have to go on tour, etc. So, that really should just be the end of that. But of course, a combination of the inherent comedy in the fact that Nicki Minaj has tweeted to 22 million people, my cousin's friend's balls done swelled up after the vaccine. That's hilarious just on the surface of it.
True.
But unfortunately, if you're a celebrity with a platform, you're not allowed to
Can you imagine turėti 22 milijonus followerių? Tai reiškia, tu turi kokį bent 15 milijonų totalių idiotų. Holy fucking shit, viskas, ką tu pasakai, bus belenkaip interpretuota. Tipo, pasakys nesąmonė, belenkai bus kritikuota, pasakys kažką protingo, vis tiek bus kritikuota. Tipo, you can never win. You just can never win.
Say you heard the story about a cousin's friend's balls done swolding up. You're not allowed to say that. That's become an act of misinformation. Now, nobody, by the way, I didn't see a single person say, yes, I knew it. The vaccines are evil and they're making us have giant balls. I'm not getting one now. Thanks for the warning, Nicki. I didn't see a single one of those, right? Because everybody, no matter where you are, you know it's a lie. You know it's either a funny lie told by the dude or a funny lie told by Nicki or it's just a lie, you know? It's just a flat-out scientific lie. So immediately people started swarming on Nicki Minaj. You can see she's not anti-vaccine. Somebody even said, this is Nicki.Inc., another Nicki Minaj stan, says, I got the vaccine and I haven't got the virus or anything. So that's a good thing. And she said, that's amazing, babe. This is the norm. Indeed, Nicki Minaj stans, welcome. Welcome to modern science. That is indeed the purpose of a vaccine. Well done. Well done. I'm impressed. Very impressed with all the progress we've made collectively, right? You know, I'm pretty sure I was aware of this by like fucking 8 years old. But, you know, look, everybody learns at different speeds. Because the internet is ridiculous, as I said, this became an international incident.
Of course it did.
And it did start with, like, the usual suspects, but it very quickly spirals out of control, as you'll see. So, I believe the initial objection that was raised was from a Huffington Post blogger called Philip Lewis, no relation. Despite what rap superstar Nicki Minaj tweeted about the COVID vaccine, there's no evidence the shots will do anything weird to your testicles. And you can see there, this is Sam Levine from the US Guardian, formerly the Huffington Post, saying, amazing Huffington Post push alert. And Philip Lewis says, takes about. He's proud of that. He's proud of that, right? He'd also been tweeting at Nicki Minaj for some time before that for reasons, again, I just don't understand why this was a big crusade. But anyway, the worst person in US news, Joy Reid, MSNBC anchor, right? Joy Reid, okay? That's Joy Reid, the person who wrote 9/11 conspiracy theories, anti-Semitism and homophobia in a blog. And when someone discovered her old blog, said hackers did it. And then when people found archives of the blog that proved it couldn't have been hackers that did it, she still doubled down and said it was hackers and they must have hacked the archives as well. She literally blamed time-traveling hackers for her own prejudices. And because everything's awful in the American media landscape, she failed upwards and now has her own show, which she shouldn't have, because she's simply awful. She lies all the time. But she decided she would set the record straight, right? And here it is.
And people like Nicki Minaj, I have to say this. You have a platform, sister, that is 22 million followers, okay? I have 2 million followers. You have 22 million followers on Twitter. For you to use your platform to encourage our community to not protect themselves and save their lives, my God, sister, you could do better than that. You got that platform. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that you got that people listen to you. And they listen to you more than they listen to me. For you to use your platform to put people in the position of dying from a disease they don't have to die from. Oh my God, as a fan, as a hip hop fan, as somebody who was your fan, I'm so sad that you did that. So sad that you did that, sister. Oh my God.
I mean, obviously it's Joy Reid, so this, of course, doesn't reflect accuracy at all, does it? It doesn't reflect anything that happened. Basically, what happened was, Nicki Minaj said, I heard a story about a guy whose balls done swolled up, and, you know, just make sure when you get the vaccine, be aware, you know, that side effects can happen, and make sure you're comfortable with the decision you make. And then did 2 tweets immediately afterwards saying, I'll be getting vaccinated. I recommend people get vaccinated. And don't worry about being vaccinated, because if you get vaccinated, vaccines work. That's essentially what she said. And those tweets, by the way, weren't replies. They were quote tweets, so they were seen by that 22 million following. And yes, weird flex, of course, from Joy Reid. She is a terminal narcissist. She had to bring her own follower count to the table, of course. I've got 2 million, which tells you all you need to know about why America's fucked. She's an authority, apparently. So good luck, America. Nicki Minaj wasn't sitting down. She didn't think to reflect on Joy Reid's false interpretation of what Nicki Minaj had done. And she did reply. And anyone lighting up Joy Reid is a friend of mine. I'm now a Nicki Minaj fan. This is what happens when you're so thirsty to down another black woman by the request of the white man that you didn't bother to read all my tweets. My God, sister, do better. Imagine getting your dumbass on TV a minute after a tweet to spread a false narrative about a black woman. Based Nicki Minaj.
Oof.
Words I never thought I would utter on a stream of mine. And it's true, isn't it? You know, it's really, you sort of see the artifice of the societal construction, you know, that's in place. And that is that you're supposed to support and empower black people because they're disenfranchised in American society. And yet we simply cannot resist, can we? Right? Well, this goes against the prescribed behavior. We're supposed to be listening to Nicki Minaj. When a black woman speaks, you're supposed to listen. But no, she said someone's balls done swolled up. So sorry, all bets are off now. Nicki Minaj is misusing her platform, said the jealous legacy media. But the media wanted to get their clicks, get their hate clicks. And so this happened. Among other things, the Daily Beast swooped in. Nicki Minaj won't get vaxxed. Says she's worried about swollen testicles.
Oh, God.
Now, what they've done here is, and this is a classic media trick that they do. What they've done is they've first of all taken a word that wasn't used to amp up the ridicule. This is one thing the media do all the time. They will not let you be impugned on your opinions alone. They always add 10%. It's like the way they spent 5 years misquoting Donald Trump at every turn. You know? They can't say, he didn't strongly condemn the Unite the Right march.
Todėl aš nekenčiu, kai žmonės taip daro, tipo, ypač su tai žmonėm, kurios yra už ką kritikuoti ir taip. Tai turi kritikuoti už tai, ką jie pasakė, bet ne, tada pakreipia nuomonės dar, pagerina tas tipo nuomonės tų žmonių, nu, tipo, kad jie atrodytų blogesnį negu yra, ar dar kažką, ir labai dažnai žmonės pasiklauso, paskui pažiūri, ką tas kritikuojamas žmogus sakė ir sako, pala, medija meluoja, nu, ir tada medija nebepasitikė. Ir neverta pasitikėti, nes jie taip daro. O realiai galėtų, bet tai nepadaro to žmogaus tipo gerų ar panašiai, nes buvo 100 dalykų, už ką galėjo medija jį kritikuoti, bet jie pasirinko kritikuoti ne už tai, ką būtent padarė, už tai, ką patys sumastė.
Enough, they have to lie and he said that neo-Nazis were very fine people, which he never did. Literally said, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists. And they've lied, and they still tell that lie and repeat that lie. Biden repeated that lie since he's been inaugurated. They worry that if they don't add that extra little spicy 10% of falsehood, you might not be convinced that actually this person is that bad. And therefore, what is the point in the journalist even writing the story in the first place? Because yes, while they love the clicks and the attention, what really makes a journalist's dick hard, or, you know, wet, or gets them wet to be, you know, equal opportunities, is the idea of them telling you what to do, convincing you to come over to the right side. It's the power, it's the influence. And without that, they truly feel empty. So they won't just let someone's opinion, someone's words stand on their own. They will misinterpret them, change them, alter them. And then the other thing they've done in this headline is says she's worried about swollen testicles. Well, she obviously isn't worried. That's the falsehood part. She never said she was worried at all. Quite the opposite, actually. But they make it seem as if she was talking about her swollen testicles, right? They've made it seem extra absurd because you're thinking, right, or what you're supposed to think from the Daily Beast. And by the way, this isn't very woke because women can have testicles too, right? They're saying, oh, Nicki Minaj is worried about having testicles, as if that's something weird and hilarious. Well, it's not, Daily Beast. That is a transphobic thing to say.
Oh, God.
So,
Okay.
A problematic headline attacking a woman of colour. It just shows you, doesn't it? They don't really care. The lie then started to spread because, as you'll see in a minute, you had this ball running as well. The Met Gala, a meeting of elite minds and wealthy people,
had this
and
big
artists
ball.
and celebrities and politicians to swan around under the premise that it's for very important and it's all for charity, when in fact it's just a networking and fashion publicity opportunity. She said that she wasn't going to go to the Met Gala, right? And so this became Nicki Minaj didn't go to the Met Gala because it had a vaccine requirement.
What
Now,
the
she
fuck?
didn't say that. She said she didn't want to go because she's got a young child at the moment. She's not long, had a baby. So that's why she didn't want to travel. And none of them say that. And you can see USA Today. Nicki Minaj says she refused to get vaccinated for the Met Gala. Fans respond with research, not what she said. Not what she said. Nicki Minaj says she's skipping the Met Gala over its vaccine requirement. Nowhere will you find her say that. And then, of course, there it is again. Nicki Minaj won't get vaxxed. Says she's worried about swollen testicles. Didn't say she was worried. Didn't express any worry. Not bothered about testicles. Right? All of the big publications were out in force now. There was another one. Variety. Right? They want you to get vaccinated for the Met. If I get vaccinated, it won't be for the Met, Minaj wrote. It'll be once I feel I've done enough research. Nicki Minaj says she isn't attending the Met Gala because of vaccine requirement. That does not say that. That says if she gets vaccinated, it won't be for the sole purpose of attending the Met. This is very easy. This is basic English. And, the reality here is, it's not that they don't understand the English. It's that they deliberately misinterpret it because there's ultimately nothing really to be outraged about if you just look at it on the surface. She says she's probably going to have to get vaccinated when she goes on tour. She recommends people get vaccinated. She says she wants to research the vaccines, which, by the way, what a mad, controversial opinion that is. That was literally, right? That was literally the stance when they were Trump vaccines. You better look into it. Ooh, I don't know. It's a bit iffy. Ooh, has he rushed them? Now that it's the same vaccine, now that we got a different guy, you can't even just say, I'm just going to research it. No, don't. That's bad now. It's mental. Then, in the tweet I can't show you, Nicki Minaj absolutely destroyed Joy Reid. Somebody found a tweet by Joy Reid that was skeptical about the vaccine.
Lol.
Will anyone at all, ever trust the CDC again? And who on God's earth would trust a vaccine approved by the FDA? How do we get a vaccine distributed after this broken Trumpist nonsense has infected everything, even if Biden wins? Oh dear. Oh dear. Nicki's got the receipts. Meghan McCain, who spends her time whining about the state of the Republican Party, despite being a Republican and never stopping to talk about how great her dad was on TV, she tweeted this out. She said, down with the kids. That's entirely enough internet for today. Talking about Nicki Minaj's original tweet. And Nicki Minaj has said what I think a lot of us would like to say to Meghan McCain. And she's just said, eat shit, you. Then there was another development while the media was still percolating away and thinking, how are we going to get Nicki Minaj? How are we going to get her? How dare she say someone's balls done swolled up in Trinidad? How are we going to get her? So anyway, she updated us with a new element of the story. Oh my fucking God, my cousin who has the friend just texted me telling me to call him. Bites nails. You idiots. If he saw this on the news, it's all your fault. It was supposed to be a secret. If either of them ask, you ain't heard it from me, okay? Right? This is, I mean, to be fair, this is illustrative of what I was talking about at the start. 22 million followers, and she thinks she's only talking to her followers. Right? Then, right? Because he just has to get involved with everything. Here's what happened next.
In my view, they should be ashamed. And I'll leave it at that. And I'm just on that, Steve. I'm not familiar with the works of, or not as familiar with the works of Nicki Minaj as I probably should be. But I am familiar with, Nikki Kanani, superstar GP of Bexley, who's appeared many times on before you, who will tell you that vaccines are wonderful and everybody should get them. So I prefer to listen to Nikki.
The British government, this is, at a fucking press conference, talking about the Nicki Minaj.
Nuo Nicki Minaj tweeto apie čytinančio čivako balls. Ai, čia visas geimas man užsibuginęs, aha. Iki UK Prime Minister per mažiau nei savaitę.
Swollen testicle tweet.
Fascinating pasaulis.
And of course, Boris Johnson, just perennial twat that he is. And of course, I'm not as familiar with the works of Nicki Minaj. Oh, stop it, mate. Stop it. At least you brushed your hair today. Fucking hell. And Nicki Minaj took it gracefully. I love him, even though I guess this was a diss. The accent. Oh, yes, boo. I don't know if this is Nicki Minaj propositioning Boris Johnson. But if he's in with a chance, then I'm in with a chance. Right? And everyone loved my accent in America. Everybody. And I can talk as posh as him when I want to. I can turn it on and off. Laura Quinsberg of the BBC was also all over this story with just 2021, everyone. Because we have to pretend this year was worse than 2020, which was worse than 2019 and 18 and 16. And then, seriously, when Britain gets involved with these international incidents, we really don't send our best and brightest mind, right? Because we have an army of, like, gammon cunts that wade into every international incident. Boris Johnson, I'm not as familiar with the works of Nicki Minaj. If you ask me to tell you about Wagner, you have him, Jeremy Clarkson, right?
Oh,
with
shit,
his
that's-
just
Top
outdated,
Yeah.
xenophobic views. And I don't care if the environment dies and all life on planet Earth dies, as long as I can drive my fast vroom vroom car. Right? But the other one, on the Mount Rushmore of gammon twats, is, of course, Piers Morgan. Professor Whitty beefing with the ghastly Nicki Minaj, one of the rudest little madams I've ever met, is not the breaking news that I expected today, but it's most welcome. She's peddling lies that will cost lives.
What the fuck?
Now, gammon twat Piers Morgan, right? Piers Morgan is a polarizing figure in Britain. On the one hand,
In the world.
you have people that can't stand him and wish he didn't exist. And then on the other hand, you just have people that can't stand him but are willing to tolerate his existence as some sort of consensus. So he is a universal cunt. I've never heard anybody say anything realistically positive about Piers Morgan. And the thing is, he's been at the center of so many of the awful aspects of tabloid culture and you know, just and all the media ethical violations. People might not know this if they're too young, but it was sort of the Piers Morgans of this world that started what was called the Leveson Inquiry, which was basically looking into phone tapping and other real shady practices that Morgan's newspapers were engaged in. Eventually, it closed down the News of the World. I wrote about that at the time. I said, good fucking riddance. It was an absolute garbage rag that even went so far as to printing information. So I'll tell you about Millie Dowler. Millie Dowler was a girl who was abducted and killed. And during the investigation, the News of the World, Piers Morgan's paper, hacked her phone, accessed her phone to listen to the voicemails and then ran a story about it. And because the voicemails had been accessed, when the police forensically examined the phone, they said, good news to the family. Someone's accessed their voicemails recently. It could have been her. There's still hope she's alive. And so the parents thought that. And of course, she wasn't alive. She was dead. They went from despair to cruel hope, back to despair, because Piers Morgan is an irredeemable cunt.
Holy shit, šito negirdėjau.
And that's just one of his many transgressions. He was also fired as editor of the Daily Mirror for publishing doctored photos of Iraqis being abused by American soldiers. How's that for lies that might cost people their lives, Piers? Weird when the shoe is on the other foot, it seems. She replied with, sir, I've never met you. I know, we all look alike. Rudest little madam, I like it. Has a special ring to it. Thanks, Piers. Love the accent. I'd love to come chat. Scones, tea, clown nose and big red shoes for you. Let me know, babe. Blowing kiss emoji, heart eyes emoji. Piers Morgan, not to be outdone, despite this definitely being about the importance of not spreading lies that cost people their lives, brought it all back to a petty grievance, dare I say. Piers Morgan, madam, we met on America's Got Talent when you appeared as a guest act, but you refused to say hello to my 3 young sons because you were too busy. Oh, and it's Piers. I know we Brit names all sound alike. Not really nailed that one, has he? And look, apparently he has a fan. Ignore the haters, king. Christ. Wouldn't want to be that. There's a genuine Piers Morgan stan. Good Lord. Anyway. So it turns out it was all about a petty grievance the whole time. He's been sat there waiting right? Just waiting for his moment, and Nicki Minaj bounces back, saying, "Stop fucking lying. I never turn down pics with kids. If a middle person told you that, they were out of line. But don't blame me, you stupid piece of shit." To which someone just replied, "Then make better music," which, you know, someone should probably tell that individual that art is subjective. She got confused and couldn't remember if she was even on America's Got Talent. And this prompted internet denizens to get to the bottom of this mystery. They kept the receipts. You can see from this diagram.
Photoshop презентація.
Why they had to draw circles round it. Well, calling them circles is an insult, isn't it, to shapes? But the days are trundling on. You would think this storm in an E-cup would just fall by the wayside. But no. Nicki Minaj is still in the news for the testicles done swolled up tweet.
Rapper Nicki Minaj says that her cousin's friend, and she put this on social media, she has 22 million followers. She said he has swollen testicles after taking the vaccine. She cited that actually as one of the reasons that she has yet to be vaccinated.
And she goes on to say his friend was weeks away from getting married. Now the girl called off the wedding.
This one's for the boys with the swollen testes. It's a tale that was told by my cousin's bestie. No need to fact check him or debunk him. So the bats fill the sack with two massive pumpkins. And it's sad, too bad, he's fried God mad. How could you love a man with some beach ball nads? Distraught, he thought she loved him alive. But now his nuts looking lifted from Epcot. Didn't make a sing long, still a normal ding dong. But it made his ping pong, look if they were King Kong. That side effects can be so bizarre. Now he's got two moons like the planet Mars. I said, excuse me, the plight of this man should be told to my 20+ million fans. I mean, think of just how large my reach is. The share about James and his giant features. So, yes I did get a reply from Flat Earther Kid. He wrote, "Thank you for this anecdote. Don't tread on my scrote."
Oh no, cringe. Yeah, terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Amazing.
And of course, because they're all just media DNC shills, these late night hosts, obviously.
Amazing.
Jimmy Kimmel was there with fresh material.
So then this tweet spreads like crazy. Everybody's posting it, which has to be great news for Nicki's friends.
Visam pasauly tas, kaip sakau, savaitę gal šnekėjo visur visi šnekėjo. Ir viskas iš to vieno tweeto išsirutulioja. Kažkas kažką tada pasako, kažkas atsako. Actually fascinating. Kokiam pasaulyje gyvenam. Bet viskas gerai. Apie kokią svarbią temą pusvalandį pašnekėsim, pamiršim, bet damn.
Cousin, poor guy's sitting at home on his couch, TV dinner, resting on his nuts, and now he's famous. Who knew testicle inflation was a side effect of COVID? Nicki, meanwhile, lashed out at the coverage of her tweet. She was mad. She wrote, 3 lies in a row from huge news platforms. I cited my young child as why I didn't want to travel, but notice how none of them mentioned that. Ask yourself why that was. Maybe because we got distracted by your cousin's friend's hippo balls?
Totally okay. It's all right. Jimmy Kimmel will come out and cover for you. Oh, like, doesn't even say, "Oh, they didn't lie." Doesn't even say it. Doesn't even say it. Just, we got distracted, so it's all right. We all work in lockstep. One hand washes the other. Then, why not send in the fact checkers, guys? Like, do you understand? We're not even halfway yet.
Ar jie tikrai siuntė fact checkers?
Send in the fact checkers. Because even though we've got late night TV hosts making light of it, proof, by the way, logically, that they don't think it is actually dangerous, because why would anyone be mocking something that was going to cost lives? That would be, you know, tasteless, to say the least. We'll send in the fact checkers, though. This is the Associated Press fact check. Experts have debunked the claim that erectile dysfunction and swollen testicles are linked to COVID-19 vaccine. Rapper Nicki Minaj drew attention to the unfounded theory in a tweet. Get the facts. Oh, fuck it. I'll show you the... They did an article on this, mate. A genuine fact-checking article claim COVID-19 vaccines cause impotency and swollen testicles. Associated Press's assessment, false. Experts say there is no scientific support for the claim that coronavirus vaccines result in those side effects. The facts. There is no evidence from available research to suggest COVID-19 vaccines cause erectile dysfunction, swelling of the testicles, or male infertility. The unfounded claims received considerable attention Monday after rapper Nicki Minaj tweeted to her more than 22.6 million followers an unverified story about a cousin's friend in Trinidad. Minaj asserted the unidentified individual became impotent and had his testicles became swollen after receiving the shot. The specifics of the claim aren't clear. A representative for Minaj did not return requests for more information. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Like, if you're calling me up, can you tell me more about these swollen balls that your cousin's friend has in fucking Trinidad? Like, no, I've got shit to do. But experts say there is no data to support the idea the vaccine causes erectile dysfunction or swollen testicles. We never seen that, said Dr. Ranjith Ramasamy, director of male reproductive medicine and surgery at the University of Miami's health system. Orchitis, popular in Lord of the Rings, orchitis, a condition that can result in swollen testicles, can follow a bacterial infection, such as a sexually transmitted infection. Ramasamy said that while orchitis and erectile dysfunction have not been linked to coronavirus vaccines, there is some evidence that it could be associated with COVID infection. Dr. Ashley Winter, a urologist, now they're bothering doctors, guys. They're bothering doctors. They're bothering doctors over this nonsense. Dr. Ashley Winter, a urologist specializing in sexual dysfunction at Kaiser Permanente in Portland, Oregon. Agreed there is no indication the vaccine negatively impacts male sexual function or the testicles overall. On a population level, hundreds of millions of men have gotten this vaccine, and there's no study showing reduced erectile function in men who've been vaccinated. Fundamentally, we just have no study linking the vaccine to either swollen testicles or erectile dysfunction. So, the fact checkers are looking after us at least. That's good news. Next up, because he's at the cutting edge of the culture war, which is where he needs to be, Tucker Carlson.
Netingėčiau pagaudyčiau aš tą kekšą. Tucker Carlsonas jau netgi. Oho.
Who you may remember was the inspiration for Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Tucker Carlson. He had some thoughts about it, so he did.
It's Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend's testicles who are swollen from taking the vax. That's the claim. But it's not anything to do with the physical effect of the vaccine that makes our political class mad. It's the last part of Nicki Minaj's tweet that enrages them. The part where she says you should pray on it, make the decision yourself like a free human being, and, quote, don't be bullied. So our media and public health officials didn't like this because they make their livings bullying people. So they couldn't let it stand.
And you can see there, bullseye emoji. Nicki Minaj agrees. So there you go, based and red-pilled. Guys, it's official. Nicki Minaj and Tucker Carlson like peas in a pod. Not everyone likes Tucker Carlson. And so, naturally, everyone's favourite political streamer had to come in and basically say, you know, he's a white nationalist, right? Because only in the lefty world of, you know, US academic interpretations of liberalism and DNC puppetry, only there could mansplaining to a woman of colour that the person she's agreeing with is actually a white nationalist You know, only someone like Hassan could do that. She just doesn't know. She can't figure these things out for herself. I believe they call that the bigotry of low expectations. But again, what do I know? I'm an idiot, obviously. I don't have as many followers, do I? So, you know, I must be wrong. There was lots of negative replies to that, as you can imagine. Because, you know, some people feel that characterization is false. Some people don't like people talking down to Nicki Minaj, right? But because she's on one, she put everyone's favorite political streamer on, I believe as the kids say, blast. Right. I can't speak to, agree with, even look at someone from a particular political party. People aren't human anymore. If you're black and a Democrat tells you to shove marbles up your ass, specific example of strange behavior there, you simply have to. If another party tells you to look out for that bus, stand there and get hit. As much as I'm not a fan of some of the things lefties, screeching American lefties are up to, I will say I've never heard of them requesting celebrities push marbles up their ass. In fact, there's simply no way they would do that. Because remember, your ass, your choice. So they're big on that. So I'm sure you'll be okay. I'm sure your ass is free from the marbles as long as we keep the Democratic Party in power. Just another point here, right? Because she was seemingly just taking it all in stride, it started to just take this weird turn. Look at this article by the Washington Post. Nicki Minaj tweets coronavirus vaccine conspiracy theory.
Oh no. Kokia čia conspiracy theory?
Like, is one dude in Trinidad saying his balls done swolled up? Is that a conspiracy theory about the vaccine? There's no conspiratorial element to it. And there's not much of a theory either. So, I don't know. But the Washington Post felt comfortable running that. They went and interviewed several important people. You can see here. There are stories out there on the internet about how vaccination can lead to infertility. There's absolutely nothing to that, said Francis Collins, director of the National Institute of Health. The Centre for Disease Control and Prevention also underscored its advice in August that there are currently no evidence any vaccines, including COVID-19 vaccines, cause fertility problems in women and men. They then add, despite the lurid headline, that she said, "I'm sure I'll be vaccinated when I go on tour." Bit weird that they took that far, but sign of the times. And then Nicki Minaj said she was invited to the White House to talk about this. The White House has invited me, and I think it's a step in the right direction. Yes, I'm going. I'll be dressed in all pink, like Legally Blonde, so they know I mean business. I'll ask questions on behalf of people who have been made fun of for simply being human. Hashtag Ballgate, day 3. Speak it.
Jo, čia per 3 dienas visas šitas atsitiko, beje. Ne per savaitę, per 3 dienas. Nuo tweeto apie Cousins Balls, iki UK Prime Minister, iki visų talk show vedėjų, 3 dienos.
Queen. So now, they're dedicating energy to debunking it all. A good journalistic debunking. Best summarized by this here from Newsweek. Nicki Minaj in war of words with White House over invite claim. Why would I lie? A war of words has erupted between Nicki Minaj and the White House after the rapper refuted claims she was only invited for a phone call and not in person. the Anaconda hitmaker, has been dominating headlines this week after a tweet about the COVID-19 vaccine and its alleged adverse effects on a family friend in Trinidad went viral. Both the UK and US governments are involved as well. As well as the Trinidad and Tobago Health Minister, after Minaj was mentioned by British Prime Minister Boris Johnson at a press conference. Minaj continues to defend herself following her tweet. How dare she? And about the vaccine causing impotence, which has been debunked and even disputed by the Trinidad and Tobago Health Minister. Yes, that's correct. It went so far that Trinidad and Tobago's Health Minister have had to issue a statement about this tweet. Nicki Minaj claimed that COVID vaccine could cause impotence, dismissed by Trinidad and Tobago. Minister says health officials found no evidence that any patient in Trinidad had reported such side effects. We wasted so much time running down this false claim. Have you tried not being a fucking melt? Have you tried that? Like, that might save you more time in future. Not being fucking boned from the neck up. What's wrong with you? Why would you track this down? What if you just didn't go to a doctor? What then? They're literally trying to put it on Nicki Minaj that they wasted their time running around Trinidad trying to find a doctor's record of a man with swollen balls. Trinidad and Tobago's health minister dismissed the claims that a cousin's friend became impotent after receiving the vaccine. As we stand now, there is absolutely no reported side effect or adverse event of testicular swelling in Trinidad, and none that we know of anywhere in the world, said the minister. However, we will take all claims seriously. Unfortunately, we wasted so much time yesterday running down the false claim. Minaj prompted a global backlash on Monday. A global backlash
that was just
over the balls. She also did go to TikTok, right? To speak to the stands.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, I had a lot of fun yesterday and a lot of laughs. But Black, make eye contact with people? And you're okay with what's happening? We're no longer even allowed to voice our opinions or to ask questions. Now, here's what's interesting. What's interesting is so many of your favorite artists feel this way, but they're afraid to speak up. And I can't blame them.
So many of your favorite musical artists, ladies and gentlemen, are worried about cousin's friend with swollen balls, and you don't know about it because you're just not in the business.
God damn it.